Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ushanka Show live. Live conversation, questions, answers about life in Soviet Union. If any chance you're new to my channel, my name is Sergey Sputnikov. It's my pen name, and I was born in USSR. How about that? I got some books I wrote about my experience coming to America. We'll talk about them later. Otherwise, if you can confirm, I see we already have 5 people. If you guys can confirm that you can, the sounds good, then we continue. I maybe have an issue with this microphone earlier I had, but anyway, please let me know if the sound is okay, and we'll be ready. Okay, people can hear me great. Great to hear that. Once again, thank you for joining me. I want to change this light a little bit this way. Maybe it will be a little bit better. Let me see. About the same, maybe slightly better. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. I'm slightly under weather. Got a little cold going on these days, so I don't know if I'm gonna last long. Maybe 30 minutes or so, then I'll start losing my voice. Had a chest cold, was coughing. So we got Port Washington, Long Island's here. Beer Springs, Michigan is right here. Hello. So yeah, I'm doing okay. I had another conversation today with my mother. She moved back to Kiev, stay in our apartment. So now we have availability, ability to talk using modern technologies. So like doing FaceTime through the Telegram. So usually it takes about an hour for my mom to talk enough. So usually about once, twice a week we have a long conversation, and I'm trying to kind of guide the conversation into recollection of the memories because I don't know how long some of you follow my channel, but most of my stories that about my family based on my memories. That's what I remember listening to them like a kid. So now I'm trying to get like additional information, fill some gaps. That's how I managed to get more information about our vacation on the Black Sea, and I made a video about it. About the cost, because I had no idea how expensive it was for us to stay in Yevpatoria on the banks or shores of the Black Sea. We got Australia again today at 12 p.m. on Monday. I appreciate you. Well, 12 p.m. is not bad. It means it's noon, right? So it's not too late. So yeah, thanks for joining. I hope you guys doing okay in Australia. We got a little bit drama going on here in the United States with a new president doing some crazy stuff with tariffs against Canada and Mexico. So that's worries quite a few people, and I'm kind of concerned myself because quite a lot of times when people ask me about the war in Ukraine, when Russia attacked Ukraine, like trying to understand like how Ukrainians feel about it, and I told them, imagine if you live in Canada and suddenly United States attack you on the pretext that they want to protect English speaking people of Canada against French, French people. And that sounds extremely bizarre, but now it's almost like, holy crap, we're kind of moving to that direction with this tariffs back and forth. Now we're starting trade war about to begin. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow to the stock market, but this whole situation, it's almost like, and it's once again, it's February. Remember, Putin attacked Ukraine on February 24th, 2022. So we have February again, and now for some reason, Donald Trump wants to make Canada a part of United States, just like Putin wanted to make Ukraine a part of Russian Federation. So there's a lot of these scary parallels going on right now. So I honestly don't know. See what else we got. Questions. We got Huntsville, Alabama. A lot of Ukrainians in northern Alabama, usually around big cities. That's what I kind of notice. Detroit, Chicago, New York, of course. There's quite a few in LA, San Francisco. Most people that immigrated from the former Soviet Union or like Ukraine, Russia, they tend to be city folk, and they kind of move towards the cities, trying to stay in the communities. That's kind of what I notice. I personally never liked big cities much. I grew up in Kiev, but I didn't say I was like truly enjoying Kiev. My best memories of my Soviet childhood is in the village out in the country. So I'm really happy to be where I live in Southwest Michigan right here. Uh, it's still close enough if I feel like we want to go see big city. It's an hour and a half drive and you in Chicago, 3 hours drive in Detroit. But otherwise, it's no traffic jams, no worries when I go to work early morning or in the evening, depending on go night shift, day shift. It's still same amount of time driving, so that's I enjoy it a lot. We got Arizona here. Um, Ivano says that it's really warm in Australia. Well, I wonder. Yeah, you guys on opposite sides, so it's the seasons backwards. We got Louisiana here. I spent several years ago, 2018 maybe. I spent 1 month in Louisiana in Baton Rouge. I worked there for a while. We got UK here. An interesting comment from Bernard. By the way, guys, don't forget to like the stream. There's still hope that one day YouTube will notice my channel, start recommending. Because right now it's kind of flat line. Channel doesn't grow, doesn't really like not many views are coming, but it is what it is. I guess there's more important things for everyone to worry about it. That some old recollection of the 50-year-old guy from Soviet Union, but in any rate, so there's a comment about, let's see, where was it? That my wife and I visited Brighton Beach, Brooklyn today. Very happy to see Ukrainian flags in the restaurants. Oh, no kidding. Well, last time I was in Brighton Beach was a while back. 95 was there first time, and that was interesting to see what's going on. Was like left on like a little Russian town, but now they have Ukrainian flags, so that's a really good sign. We got Stockholm, Sweden here. That's good. Yeah, I'm working. As I apologize, I didn't make a lot of videos recently. Was kind of busy, and I said I'm under a cold, but I'm planning get more information from my mom. So my next video about be about housing again, about how my family end up purchasing an apartment in Kiev instead of waiting for the so-called free apartment. So I got some information from her, really interesting details. So that's going to be a separate video. So where else we got here? Miami. Oh yeah, I was in Key West 2 weeks ago. Spent a little vacation. Went with my wife on a little vacation. We stayed in Marco Island, little hoity-toity island in Florida, and then we took a ferry from Marco Island to Key West. For some reason, I wanted for a long time to see Key West. It was kind of disappointment, but at least it's a check mark on my book. It was kind of part of my bucket list. So question about my brother Artyom. He's doing okay. I'm staying in touch with him. Just sent him a new shipment of socks. He liked the specific socks I bought earlier for his military boots, but I also bought him. So he works. He serves with the border patrols, but of course they're not doing border patrolling now. He's a part of the unit that they're watching for the Russian drones, and they have anti-drone guns, like really outdated though, just little like a cannon style, from 1950s. That's original design. So they are watching for drones and they're trying to shoot them down. So that's what he does. We got a first donation. Thank you so much from my Canadian supporter, Bill One. He also goes under different names. Maybe Comrade Sputnikov should make a video about feminism in the USSR to bring female comrades to the channel. Yeah, I don't know. That information will bring a lot of female to the channel, because the general kind of attitude was, well, in many regards, it was kind of interesting. Like, since we had 100% employment, every woman had to work. It didn't count if you're homemaker. So pretty much that was kind of interesting. If you know, there'll be empty apartment buildings because everyone is at work. and then kids come from school, around 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and we were latchkey kids. And then there was still, at least my family, pretty much all the responsibilities for cooking and washing, doing laundry and cleaning. That was pretty much on my mom. My father helped a little bit more, like taking those area rugs that we had on the floor and on the walls. We'll carry those rugs in the winter outside. In the winter, you wait till the fresh snow. You unroll them on the ground. You cover them with the snow, and then you start beating them up with these dust beaters, and then you hang it and you knock it out. So that was like a snow bath for your rugs. Really bizarre, but I'm looking back like, man, my mom, besides working full time, she can had basically deal with everything in the house. I mean, my dad would do repairs or painting, but otherwise, cooking was, and there was nothing you can buy pre-cooked, so everything had to be made from scratch, which is really healthy, but at the same time, it's really hard if you're the one who cooks all the time. But yeah, I can put something together. I'm not sure if I have. It was a single-sided family, and like they every woman worked, and a lot of time I posted pictures periodically. Like women did a lot of really hardcore work. No, I don't have anything on the general on the women labor. Will be interesting. Let's see. I just have some vintage films about women working, but I don't have anything on feminism. Like, there's a plenty of pictures that the women doing like a repairing blacktop roads, so that big babushkas with the shovels, tossing hot asphalt off the truck, and then the patching the holes, and then you have a steamroller steamrolling over it. And at the same time, they still had to do all the chores at home. But a lot of this, the women did it not because there were no other work options. It's just there were some jobs that you could get housed in pretty quick. So if you came out of some village into Kiev or another large city, and you're trying to get an apartment for yourself, there were some job opportunities. They could do it pretty quick. You don't have to wait for 5, 10, 15 years or 20. So my mom tried to work at the brick factory. She said it was 1 year waiting line for the apartment. If you work night shift at the brick factory, she lasted one night and she said, I couldn't do it. So that's the reason why. But yeah, I'll add it to my list. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate your donation. 56 people join us already. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Don't forget to like. Once again, we still have a small hope. Other question people asking, how am I doing? I got a new hobby. I guess you can say the hobby. I got interested in the history of a surrounding area. So I started kind of looking and buying old postcards from like surrounding areas. St. Joe, Beer Springs, the town I'm from, and apparently there's a plenty of postcards on eBay. They're pretty cheap. And so I got interested a lot in the whole story about steamboats on Lake Michigan. So I'm looking for postcards like this one is steamship City of Grand Rapids coming out of Chicago. So this whole history about steamships and cruise ships in Michigan, Lake Michigan, and other Great Lakes. So I started hunting for all these cards. You can find them for like $5, $6, $10 on eBay. So this is my like new hobby. This one is really interesting. One of the most unusual steamships on Lake Michigan or Great Lakes period. It has really unusual body structure, that hull. So this is really cool. So I'll be looking more in the history of this guy. So yeah, this is my new hobby. Got interested a lot. So, and then also I'm looking for some old postcards from surrounding area. I got a bunch of there. Then I'm trying to find these places now and compare. So that's pretty neat. So this is kind of a little side hobby I developed. So all right, so let's go back to your questions. So if by any chance you have any cool postcards you don't want anymore, I'll be more than happy. But my latest purchase is this postcard. It's Chicago World Fair of 1933, and that's a German Zeppelin floating above it. And that German Zeppelin, there's a picture. It was flying over Berrien Springs, and somebody snapped a photo. We used to have the longest interurban bridge in the world back in Berrien Springs. It's pretty amazing. So we had an interurban train, so it's like a tramway coming from South Bend through Berrien Springs into St. Joe, and the bridge across the St. Joe River was the longest interurban bridge in the world at that time. So, anyways, and that's kind of I'm gonna dig more for information about this 1933 exhibition in Chicago, but I found this postcard and it was mailed from Chicago, has that over stamp Century of Progress. So really cool. Like, and of course, all those stamps were 1 cent back then. Okay, so yeah, Artyom is doing okay. My brother said he got the skills because he finished the college to be like electronics repair guy, and then he worked for a long time in his industry, so his skills are very useful. He's constantly going and fixing radios, reprogramming radios, doing all this type of repairs, working with the Starlink communication system. So it's of course stressful, scary. It's a war, but he definitely like um, his skills is really in high demand what he does, so I'm happy to hear that. So yeah, he's doing, and fortunately weather in Ukraine is really mild. It's really warm there, so it's a pretty good to live outdoors. There's comment from Flint Ironstag. Here in Oregon we have a Russian old believer communities. The women always wear long dresses and head coverings, almost like Amish, a mild form. There's another interesting thing. All those Russian old believers, they hardcore Trump supporters, although they are United States thanks to Democrats. Kind of fun historical fact. There was this amendment done, or oh, I forgot the names. There's two guys, and they both. I started looking up to it, and they both were Democrats. So that's 1970s. They basically uh, made like if Soviet Union won, will be preventing Jews and like these different religions, not letting them leave the Soviet Union, then the United States will stop trading with Soviet Union. So that's how they opened the doors to let Jewish people leave Soviet Union and old believers. So they all came to the United States thanks to Democrats, and now they hate Democrats from the bottom of their Christian heart. Like it's insane, but I'm just like, you should like you should at least hate them because they opened doors for you. They welcome you to their country, and now you hate them. So it's kind of interesting. And I'm wondering, there's probably something in Bible about women having their heads covered after they getting married. I noticed that a lot of same with Amish people. I live near Indiana. We host there too. Okay, next comment. I want to thank you for recommending the book Black and Red. I read it a few years ago, and it's still one of my favorite books. Yeah, that book is actually really amazing. It's I got still you can't see it, but I have it. Uh, and it's definitely that's the best type of book you can get is the personal account. And I'm planning to make my book review on a Russian journal by John Steinbeck. I took it back from the library. I had to return it. I already made my notes when I read the book, so I made the preview with those KGB documents, and now there'll be a real video about my what I think about that book. Let's see. Question. Yes, I worked at the Riverbend power plant for their outage back in 2018. So yeah, I lived in Baton Rouge, and then I drove every day to work. Yeah, it's near St. Cransville. I like Louisiana in February. I don't want to be there in the summer. Comment. I would hesitate to compare tariffs to missiles and tanks. They are both acts of aggression. True, but there is aggression and there is aggression. Canada has no need for fear American tanks. Well, same with Ukrainians. I never could believe that Russia would attack. In my wildest drunk dreams, I would never imagine that Russia would attack Ukraine. Like, yeah, sure, we had some trade spats, and Putin depends who came to power. And I mean, he had his little fingers involved in the election in Ukraine. But every time there's a pro-Russian president, our gas prices will go down, like natural gas prices. If the president he doesn't like, he jacks up prices for natural gas. So he did the same um, kind of chantage, right? What would be the English word for it? Like you are blackmailing, and well, it's not about tariffs. You hear Trump saying same words as Putin that Ukraine is not a real country. It should be part of Russia. And Trump just said that Canada is not really a country. It needs to be a part of the United States. This is what concerns me. It's exactly same words, just instead of Ukraine, now it's Canada. I know it sounds wild and crazy, but I said when I made a live video when I explained you guys why Russia would never attack Ukraine, and a week later, Russian tanks rolled in Ukraine. It's yeah, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, and I don't know. According to the American Constitution, I don't think President of the United States can declare the war. It's only Congress. But at the same time, it's a Congress that's supposed to impose tariffs on other country, not American president. But there's some little kind of new laws were introduced over the years that in emergency situations American president can do tariffs. But if you look at the Constitution, it's only Congress is like it's their Congress job's responsibility to imply tariffs and taxes. So uh, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, and that's once again Trump and Panama Canal, and it's Putin and Crimea or Greenland. It's really bizarre. Um, my only like it makes no sense. Like, why would suddenly you think you want to make a Canada part of the United States? It's like I don't know. It makes no sense. You think, somebody can say excuse. Yeah, Ukraine used to be part of Russia and part of Soviet Union, so it's kind of like there's some kind of reason you can attach to it. But like Canada, I mean, they were both British colonies somewhat, and then they split. So it's yeah. Let's see. We got another donation. Thank you so much, Sanderford. Did the Soviet Union have duck and cover drills? And no, we did not have those. Although we had a full-blown начальная военная подготовка, initial military training, so we learned how to disassemble AK-47s, gas masks. The only type, but it wasn't duck and cover. It was pretty much like when we outside marching, and then our instructor will yell "Вспышка справа," so it's a flash from the right, so nuclear flash to the right. You mean you need to jump to the left and cover your head on the ground. So it was a drop and cover, not duck and cover, but we didn't have that in the classrooms. And I already have a video on that topic. I'll post link right now. Appreciate your donations. The military. Becoming, yep. It's actually I combined all my videos on that topic in 1 hour 30 minutes strong, so it will be right here coming up. I'll do in cap locks. Military training Soviet schools. I apologize, said I'm slightly under the weather on under weather. I think it's under the weather. So when I talk a lot, it's aggravate my throat. So, all right, but it's pretty wild what's going on right now. Definitely we'll see what's going to happen in the stock market tomorrow. But going after Canada, who's like the large one of the biggest trading partners of United States and one of the biggest allies, I don't know. It's pretty wild. So, question: do you know anything of what is happening in regards to Ukraine war, weapons supply in general? As far as I know, Biden, right before he left the office, they kind of approved the big chunk of cash, which is, Ukraine doesn't get money, they get weapons. So the funds were released to American suppliers, and those weapons on the way, I believe, or I hope so. I follow some Ukrainian news. I don't see any complaints so far about not getting what they're waiting for. So as far as I know, everything is good, but that's still what was approved by the previous administration. And as far as I know, Trump's administration stopped any foreign aid except for Israel and Egypt, and Ukraine is not on the list. So, but so far, I mean, I couldn't say Ukrainian army doing okay, but they holding off the ground. They're losing some in Donetsk region, but otherwise, they're doing, given the situation and how unequal powers, they're doing okay. Okay, what else we got? It's an interesting point made by Brad. He said, just like Putin said that Khrushchev should not have given Crimea to Ukraine, Trump said that the United States shouldn't have given Panama Canal to Panama. Yeah, it's a really similar rhetorics, I think is the word, right? So that's the scary part. And I'm almost like, it looks to me, but who am I? That it's more like a distraction because there's something going on. Putin is getting really desperate because his Russian economy started showing serious cracks. So he needs a quick solution of Ukrainian problem. So this has been like a huge, big distraction for the world and especially America. This whole mess going on with Canada, and while that's going on, somehow they will just drop Ukraine and let Putin do whatever he wants. So that's kind of my concern too. So, but I don't know. It's pretty wild. I'm checking on Reddit some Reddit's Canadian subreddits, and those guys are not happy. They're really upset. So that's pretty interesting to watch. Uh, Question: what what is with the rugs on the walls? Didn't want to step on them or get dirty? I have a video on that topic too, but I'll tell you. Uh, there's several reasons, which the practical reason, like practical, uh, is it's soundproofing. So if you have a rug on the wall, it kind of makes room quieter, believe it or not. Um, Another main reason, it's like a status symbol. I don't know, it came maybe from the Asian countries, southern, like Turkmenistan. For them, it's a symbol of you're doing really well if you have a big expensive rug, and if the rug is expensive, you don't want it to be worn out, so you hang it on the wall. So there was always like a, and we felt, I don't feel anymore like that. That it's kind of makes room cozy. I still like, I talked to my mom and she has the rug hanging on the wall from, I remember from my childhood. It makes me always smile. So soundproofing, status symbol, and just we consider it look good. I don't know why. Don't ask me. It's really bizarre. I just remember from my childhood that I was really shocked when I discovered that rugs on the wall also collect dust. Because in my mentality, uh, you know, rugs, if they lay flat, yeah, dust falls on it, sure. But rug vertically. But then one time, my mom told me go ahead and vacuum the rug. So I vacuumed while it was hanging on the wall, and then I saw how much dust it had. I was like, holy cow. So yeah, it's always for some reason I thought it was making the room look cozy instead of have a naked wall. Just a cultural thing. I think it's died now. Most people don't hang rugs on the walls anymore. There's a comment, 80s Alechki kid here. I learned how to cook and take care of myself since the fourth grade. Well, I walk home from school since the first grade, since I was 7. But my mom was afraid to let me use stove because it was a gas stove, and she was afraid I could do, or burn the apartment down or kill myself. So she didn't want me to touch matches or do anything with the gas stove. So she always had a thermos for me with soup, so it still stays warm till when I come home. So all I had to do is just pour it in the bowl and eat it. And later, I started taking public transportation, a trolley bus to her place of work, and we'll have a lunch in cafeteria. So I did a lot. I think in my third grade, but yeah, those like yeah, every kid just walks home. Doesn't matter. You're 7-year-old, 8-year-old. Open your apartment. Yeah, thinking about it. But our schools were pretty close. I had about 10 minutes walk from my apartment to school, so not too bad. Let's see, next question. By the way, don't forget to like the stream. Maybe we'll get to 100 likes. I don't know if it's possible. Uh, so there's a comment from former Yugoslavian guy, Nikola. I like your name, Nikola, almost like Tesla. Hi, comment. In Yugoslavian schools, we had mandatory book for literature class. It was called Soviet science fiction called Zvezda Cats. Did you also read it? Yes, I definitely read it. Cats, it's abbreviation for Konstantin, whatever his father's name, Tsiolkovsky. So the father of the like Russian space science, Tsiolkovsky. So Zvezda Cats. Cats, it's 3 letters of his name. So that's what the abbreviation was. I believe it was like, who wrote it? Trying to think about it. Let me look it up really quick here. Just a second. It's funny because we didn't have to study it in Soviet schools, but I definitely read it. I can't remember the writer, but I'll look it up in a second. Alexander Belyaev, I thought it was. So yeah, that was by Alexander Belyaev, published in 1936. But they translated it wrong. It's cats. It's for Konstantin Eduardovich Tsiolkovsky. Well, I guess Tsiolkovsky in English they write with T, first letter. So, but that's the meaning. I don't remember. It's a really old science fiction book. It was 1936. I'm surprised you guys had to study it or read it. But yeah, okay. Let's see. Looks like we have some conversation going on between the viewers, which is great. I always like when you guys start interacting between each other. It makes my life a little bit easier, and I still have a hope that one day I'll get a email that, although it's a really low probability because I have like 5% of female viewership and the rest is a male. But if somebody will meet on Ushanka Show, get married, I would love to attend that wedding. That would be so cool. Probably won't gonna happen. So the comments, one of the ships still exists on Lake Ontario. There was a ship in Saugatuck, Michigan. It was like a museum. Ooh, I describe it in my book. In 1996, I think, we saw that ship, and then I learned it was gone. They moved it somewhere to Canada, where it was originally came from. Oh, forgot the name. Can't think of it right now. So that's my second book, 1996. It was SS something. I won't be able to find it right now, but yeah, it was that's kind of part that I caught the attention, but it was interesting to find out it was a huge big deal. Speaking of the ships, I had opportunity. I crossed Lake Michigan on the SS Badger, so there's still the last coal burning steamship going between Michigan and Wisconsin. From Ludington, Michigan to don't remember the town in Wisconsin. So I took that ship one time with my son. It was really cool. We had our car on the ship and we went to Wisconsin. Then we drove around UP back to Sheboygan area. And another time I took a ferry in Canada. Can't tell you the name. It was Indian name, like First Nations name. Uh, when I was in Canada, went through Sarnia up north. We stayed in some small town. Don't remember the name, and then we took ferry from there further up. So that was the to the island, which is the largest freshwater island in the world. I can't think of the name. To see what else we got. Your questions here. But yeah, this whole history about steamships on Lake Michigan, it caught me by surprise. There was like 3 4 times a day steamships coming to Benton Harbor, St. Joe from Chicago. So before railroads and regular roads, that's how people traveled for like summer vacation from Chicago to Michigan. So that's pretty neat. So I'm kind of looking more to get information on that stuff. So there's a conversation about this, the Russian old believers. There was also, I don't remember now a story. That was during even Peter the Great, I think. It's when the church split. There was some new rules or new version of Bible, and that was also the way you cross yourself. Like old believers do it with 2 fingers, and new was with 3 fingers. And old believers said 3 fingers is the sign of evil because you can make dula. I made a video about this. Is basically kind of polite middle finger. It's not a middle finger kind of level, but if somebody shows you dula, that's kind of they tell you to go f yourself in polite form, kind of. So the old believers thought that praying with 3 fingers, not crossing yourself, is the bad thing. So because they do it with 2 fingers, maybe it's like a father and a son. I don't know. I'm not a religious person, but I remember that stories that there was a lot of chasing each other, persecution for how many fingers to use to pray. Pretty crazy. Раскольники. Yeah, раскольник, it's splitters. So they split. The расколоться is to split. So раскольники, they split away. Um, it's pretty interesting stuff. But I said once again, just because there's something small in religion, and you got this new branch, and of course, it's totally cool if there's new branch and they just peacefully separate and they do their own thing. But in Russia, Mother Russia, if you split, you have to cut that branch off and burn it. So yeah, they were chasing them, poor guys. They were like escaping to Siberia and the places where no one lived, just to so they can pray with 2 fingers. There's a question. Have you done video of Reagan visiting Soviet Union, meeting Jan Putin wearing Mickey Mouse shirt? Nope. I don't remember Reagan visiting Soviet Union. So yeah, and especially Putin wearing Mickey Mouse shirt. I think Putin at that time was in Germany. He worked for KGB, but I'm not sure. No, I'm not aware of that, and I don't have videos. You didn't think Russia would attack Ukraine, even though Russia attacked Ukraine before? Uh, Before it's like 1920, and at that time it was a Bolshevik Russia, and the way I was taught in school, there was a Ukrainian bourgeois government, so they totally deserved. And by the way, it was never presented like Russia attacked Ukraine, even back then in 19 I believe, or 1918. It was a civil war. I mean, there's articles they found that Soviet government in Moscow claimed that there's no Russian troops in Ukraine. It's a civil war going on between red Ukrainians and the Ukrainian nationalists. So that's the same scenario over and over again. So yeah, and the fact that like we spent most of my friends were Russians in Kiev, and so like yeah, that whole concept just doesn't fit in your head that it's possible. You know I would never guess that Russians would shoot at Ukrainians and then other way around. Now, of course, it's like a normal thing. I mean, I grew up there's a nickname for people like me. It's kind of rude nickname, but it is what it is. It's Savok. Savok, it's kind of Soviet, like Soviet, right? But it's actually like a dustpan, or when you scoop uh, dirt from the floor with a scooper, dustpan. What Savok? That's the meaning of the word, but it became a slang for people who grew up in Soviet Union. When we have our like horses, when you grew up specific ways, that's how I'm being called. So yeah, there's a lot of naivety still remained with me. I mean, a lot of it's changed. I'm learning more and more about Soviet Union, but the whole idea that the Russians will be, attacking and fighting. My understanding, like, what would American soldier will do right now if Putin, Jesus, if Trump will order march into Canada? Like, what would you think American troops would do? This is kind of like it's probably impossible for any normal American or Canadian to just say, yeah, they were just gonna cross the border, march, and occupy Canada. This is kind of how I felt when I was thinking about possibility that Russians gonna cross the border and march into Ukraine. That was kind of this level. So I don't know how many people think it would be totally possible that Americans just gonna march, tanks rolling and jets flying into Canada because their president said Canada shouldn't exist, should be a 51st state. This is kind of some situations that looking back, you're just thinking you were so naive, but I would never even guess because I grew up. Most of my friends were Russians. I'm Russian speaking, so yeah. But I said this Russia, like technically, was never attacked Ukraine. It was always kind of like this hybrid war was bringing quietly troops. What they did, they occupied Kharkiv and they had created their uh, gathering, and they voted to create Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic with capital in Kharkiv, while there was also different Ukraine with a capital in Kiev. I mean, this is kind of like same shit, different smell. Okay, next question. Is there any food you miss from the USSR you can't easily get in America? There's a little bit. It's a lot of it is changing. Like, believe it or not, uh, I used to like what my wife says called fishy fish. A lot of like canned fish. I grew up eating a lot of canned fish. Like I always liked the smoked sprouts, and then I realized like I don't like it anymore. It's like my mind like still wants it, but when I start eating, I have gagging reflexes, so a lot of it disappeared. Um, most stuff you still can get. Like I made a video about it. There's a unmarked van coming from New Jersey once a month to Elkhart, Indiana, and they bring all the kind of foods that you can get in the regular American stores. So I go there once in a while to load up. Like I like a lot marinated mushrooms. You guys don't have it like that. They have some, but it's not different flavor. There is also so-called kabachkova ikra. I can't know how to translate it in English. So it's like a vegetable paste. It's really good. I like it a lot. Just eating by spoon. My wife said it's okay on the bread, toasted bread. So there's some, but my wife likes to cook, so she learned how to make borscht and the other meals that she saw how my mom cooks. She's just made them Americanized way. And if you're interested in that topic, let's see if we. Now I put video together. Like there's a video about making borscht. Ukrainian classic dishes with American spin. So I'll give you a link to that one. So this is how my wife, who is American, just kind of simplifies in using American available ingredients. So I'll put Soviet cooking. So yeah, she periodically makes me red beet borscht and then sorrel borscht. I like split pea soup, so she makes some of that too. We buy, I forgot the brand. You can buy it on Amazon. It's like a packets and it's already pre-mixed peas and barley and spices, and then you just you know potatoes, broth, boil it, and it's good to go. I like a lot for lunch to have soup or borscht. There was one of the shocks that in America when I came, I realized you guys don't eat soups for lunch. Like my all my life, there was always soup or borscht for lunch. I grew up doing it. So when I see people doing sandwiches, it was just like it's not real food. So the comment: the president can declare war, but they can send troops. I think yes, that's pretty much how. I'm trying to think which cases was that there was no war declaration of war. I believe into Iraq they actually voted. I think Obama brought the vote to send troops to Syria, but that was voted down. In other cases, yeah, there was just they can somehow send troops. Once again, there's some kind of loophole was created for that stuff. Let's see what else we got. By the way, thank you for joining once again. We almost got 76 people, almost can get even to 100, and I'm still okay with my voice, losing a little bit, and I hope maybe computer won't freeze. Usually for something, almost an hour. We'll be wrapping up soon anyway. Let's see. Will your second book become an audiobook? Yeah, I'm planning. I'm actually still need to do my first book as a real audiobook, not artificial intelligent voice. Every book eventually will have. I just need to concentrate. I'm trying to finish my third book right now, 1997. The manuscript is done. I'm just going over it and trying to kind of make it sound good. I'm checking with native English speaking people, make sure it's everything floats, sounds good. So this is my project. When I finish my third book, I'll try to catch up and make audio for both. That's sweet. A warm thermos of soup waiting for you at home after school. Yeah, that was said. I There's one thing my mom she never liked cooking. Like when I started asking her when I grew up, and she's like, I never liked cooking, but someone had to feed you, and your dad didn't cook much, so I had to cook all the time. But that was this is why I don't have problem eating leftovers because my mom will cook a big pot of soup and we'll be eating it for 3 4 days till it's gone. Then she make another pot of different soup and we'll be eating that till it's gone. So like I'm pretty much here at home in America. I'm a leftover guy, and then I remember when I was gone, actually in Louisiana for a month, my family was in panic mode because fridge was overfilling with leftovers and no one was eating it. Everyone in the habit, eat it for a day or two, then they want a different meal, and then they don't know what to do with leftovers because I'm gone. So that was funny. All right, so yep, there's a comment about that steamship. There was a Kivatin, yep, or Kivatin. Yep, it was in Sagatuck, Michigan for a while, and I didn't have a chance to visit, unfortunately. I was on the opposite side. Next question: what do you think about Palestine? It's a really hard question. There's a lot of similarities to what's going on in Palestine and to what's going on in Ukraine. Ideal solution, of course, it's should be a Palestine as a independent state, and it should be Israel. But if you look at the map, it's pretty much Israel decided they're just gonna slowly take over territories and with their settlements, to basically to make Palestine disappear. But Palestine people willing to fight. I don't know if what is the solution for that problem. You know, a lot of people base their decisions on Bible that originally, back in the day was Jewish territory. I don't know. It's a hard one. I wish I knew the solution, but uh, people die on both sides in that case. Uh, but a lot of Palestinians want Israel state disappear, which is also is not going to happen. So I don't know what kind of solution. Uh, Next question. Are not the Russians more war culture? You would have to adjust Americans, but it could happen fast. Well, Putin was prepared Russians for the war for a while. So that's one thing that, I didn't realize. And it's, kind of, there's some similarities, of what Putin did first thing after he became the president of Russia. He went after mass media, and basically you will see there's right away a lot of journalists got killed, you know strange situations. So basically the whole mass media was taken under control, because dictatorships, they like monopoly on information. After that was done, they kind of started prepping population for incoming wars. And there were shows, there was news information, basically showing Ukrainians, in a negative way. They're stupid, using in like television. There's some mean words for different nations. People maybe say in private, you never say it in public. But that was like on the first channel of the official news. They'll call. Okay, I'm losing the voice. So anyway, so they were prepping Russian population for the war, and I think war would happen way before 2014 and full blown war 2022, but Chechnya delayed that.